Bickford Gallery, and we're going to be enjoying a program by David Bowman. And David is a regional artist not too far from here that was introduced or discovered the Morris Museum in our mission of kinetic artwork and supporting artists and doing the Cash of Kinetic shows, which he's taken part of several shows, and even had his own singular spin-off show, what we call a Guinness spin-off show, in the Headley Gallery, where the Seton Hall exhibit, contemporary spin on the Guinness collection is going on. David had a show, a one-person show there, that filled that 1,000-square-foot room with all kinds of interactive operating pieces following a story that he had written on the adventures of Baron von Steuben. Which is a tongue twister sometimes, but he did a marvelous job, and it was a great exhibit for us to have here at the museum. David is from Pennsylvania, the Harrisburg area, and he's a retired middle school science teacher, and had discovered, you might say, a passion into creating things mechanical, and it's been evolving for, the past maybe 10 years?
About 7 or 8.
7 or 8 years. And before retiring, he had worked with woodwork, and since retiring, has also become a furniture restorer, as well as a creator, a builder of different types of furniture and fine woodwork inside the home's interiors. And then slowly has been migrating towards becoming an artist in the kinetic world, and has a very unique sort of quality, a signature style of the materials he uses, and we're very happy to have him. So David, I'll pass the torch on to you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. I realize this is not prime time or anything, and there's a lot going on, but I really do appreciate you coming. And if you have any questions, I want to interrupt. That's perfectly fine. Sometimes if we save questions to the end, you forget your question, or you fall asleep, or you get up and leave. So I would like to truly thank the Morris Museum for helping me in this journey in AutomataCon, because I truly felt that I didn't really know what I was doing, and does anyone else do this? And when I discovered the Morris Museum, and particularly the Guinness collection, I realized that it's okay to do this. This is a real thing, and there are people that truly like this. And this show has been fantastic for me. I was so disappointed when it was canceled 2 years ago, and to have it back up and running and to be able to keep it alive. I think if we wouldn't have been able to have it this year, Brett might have gotten discouraged and thought, well, the heck with it. So applause to all of you people for supporting them and coming. And even though we didn't have a gigantic crowd, I think the crowd that was here is just so into what they're doing, and the questions and conversations I've had with people have just been phenomenal. I really feel validated that it's okay to do this. The only thing I would say is if you are thinking of becoming an AutomataCon artist, don't quit your day job. I have yet to make it profitable, but that's okay. I have other choices. So this is entitled The Mechanical Zoo. My little spin-off company outside of my cabinet making business is the Salvage Walls Project, called because I try to use as many salvage materials as possible. So we'll try to get this thing going. And it was in 2015 I really got it going. I was at that time a member of the Pennsylvania Guild of Craftsmen, and they put us in the teams of 3, and they said, let's make a sculpture, and then we'll have a competition, and then we'll auction them off to benefit the guild. And so I turned a pig on the lathe and put wings on it, and another artist painted gears on it, and another one put goggles on it, and it was entitled Steam Pump, or Steam Port. And the one other artist said, it would be so cool if it would move. That would be even better. So I took an old hand drill and cut out the end, screwed it to the base, and stuck it on the table so you could turn the handle and it would spin in a circle. And so you could get movement, and that's really one of the things that got me thinking, okay, movement is a good thing, and I think it's really fun. So in trying to find a drivetrain, I was really discouraged with my vintage antique erector set that I had saved in the 1960s because the gears were stamped and were rounded. So when they would mesh together, there was so much slop. The gears would often fail and slip and slide. And the gears that would allow you to turn a 90-degree angle were cast out of what we call hot metal, which is a zinc-based alloy, and they wear out so quick when rubbing against the steel. So unfortunately, I had to just abandon the erector set. I thought either I have to make my own gears or use clock gears, which are so thin that they're almost impossible to use. The big breakthrough for me came when I stumbled upon the English building set, Meccano. They were formed in Liverpool, England back in the 1900s, and they had most incredible gears. And I think I've shown some of these that I saw on my table. And this made all the difference in the world for me because I really didn't want to make my own gears. The drivetrain is an important component, but I wanted to be able to focus there on making the object look alive and giving it some artistic flair and a little bit of fun. So I am very, very grateful to Meccano. So the fact that the machine is not stamped makes them much more reliable, and the gears are made out of brass, sprockets are made out of steel, and the great thing is you can solder to the brass, you can put adaptations, you can put pins out, whatever you want. And I think I may have told a few of you that I actually have gotten some hate email from Meccano collectors in England. They find my stuff and they say, how dare you alter the Meccano gear? Don't bend the strips. That's sacrilege. Sorry, that isn't what I do. So that was kind of unexpected, but kind of interesting. And over in England, there's a cult-like following of Meccano, and that makes it really hard to get this stuff. It's very expensive. It's much more than what we think it would cost. And since you have to buy most of it on eBay UK, you don't really know what it's going to cost. It depends who's bidding against you. But over in England, all these people around my age, older and a little bit younger, who grew up with the Meccano sets, they have a convention every year in every county of England. And they fill a gigantic convention center, and all these guys and ladies come in and they make their steam engine or their crane or their airplane from Meccano, and they display them, and they're dealers that sell them. This particular gentleman is a dealer that I've been able to get in contact with, and I actually just buy it direct from him sometimes when I'm buying stuff. So I'd love to get over there. I haven't been there yet, but I'd love to get over there just to see this spectacle that they have every year. Unfortunately for me, the sets I really like are from the nickel era, which is 1911 to about 1914, and they're kind of hard to find. They're super well made, and they're really expensive, but for me, these are the best pieces that the best materials I can find to build what I want to build. So I just kind of bite the bullet, and if I find one of these sets, I buy it usually no matter what it costs, as long as I have the money at hand. There is another gentleman in England named Edward Lucan who has formed a company called Meccano Spares, and you can buy metal strips, girders, channels, brackets, sprockets, chain, brass parts from him. And he also has sourced out to some German manufacturing companies to reproduce many of the Meccano gears, for you to buy new compatible gears that aren't the original. And as the original is getting scarcer, that's actually sometimes the only option. So once I discovered this, I went on eBay in the UK and started buying and trying to figure out how many dollars is 50 pounds. And after a while, we kind of get used to it, but I would say it's not cheap, and the shipping is better. But at least with England, if you get the stuff shipped to you, if you try to buy a Meccano set in France or Italy, I don't understand the whole European Union thing, but it is tough to get stuff shipped. from the European Union on the mainland Europe, too. So I would recommend trying to buy anything outside of the room. I was a former biology teacher and also taught physical science, so I love classical physics, the six simple machines, and I've always loved animals. I collect skulls. I helped put together a museum at the school. I was an amateur taxidermist, and so, and as I started making these creations, anytime I could incorporate animal parts into it, I always did it. And I honestly felt that I was reanimating these skulls, giving them a life, instead of walking in the woods or sitting at a drawer somewhere. I felt I was giving them a whole new life. And for some reason, I just really liked the combination of the organic, natural product with the mechanical product. It's just something that, as Jerry said, we have a particular style, and I think I love. The fortunate thing for me is I've been a fabricator since the early 1980s, late 1970s. I do a lot of custom fabrication for people that want stuff that nobody else will build for them. But this is a full-size adult rocking boat instead of a rocking boat. So the fun I've had, and I'm at a point in my life where I can take on the projects I want to do. Like I said, because I need a new roof. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that anymore. I used to do that. But by going through years and years of making unique things, I've really done a lot of problem-solving experience, and I think it's really helped me a lot. It's a subconscious thing that you just do stuff. I can't explain to you how you go about problem-solving, but I think it's just what people call experience. So, as I build these simple automatons, and I say mine are simple because I do not do the cam rubber system that the classic automaton do. I really like everything to be using the straight six simple machines. And I honestly have come to the realization that these are the toys. As I was a child, I envisioned having things to use, and I just ended up building them. One of my biggest disappointments, and this is a knock on anybody, but when I got out of steampunk and went to my first steampunk show to check it out, I did tables and see these really cool things there. I said, what does it do? Nothing. It's a prop. And that really helps stimulate me to, I want to make things that are cool and that actually move. Because to me, it truly brings them to life. One of the biggest challenges was how to make them move and what to use as a power source. So that's sort of what this is about. The dildo that's out there at the table, I was really honored when Brent decided he was going to use the dildo as the mascot of this year's AutomataCon. I didn't pay him anything, obviously, so I was really flattered. But the dildo is powered by an antique clockwork mechanism motor that comes from the old Makana sets. You can get those. They're made from about the 1940s to the early 1960s. So one of the ones I want to talk about, and I had here at the show, is the power of the Firefly. There's been a lot of talk about what motivates you, how do you get your ideas, how do you start, and I think everybody's different. When I got a hold of an old telephone magneto, that's the thing that you crank on it, and it would send an electrical impulse out of your house down to the power lines to the lady that sits at the operator board. She'd see a light flash, and she'd plug me in and talk to you. So I was able to acquire one of these, and I was able to repair it, get it working. I thought, how cool is this? And then I thought, what can I make that I can utilize this as a power source? So I wanted to make a firefly. And the wing motion, flying motion is pretty hard, at least for me, to acquire and get something that looks reasonable. So what I like to do, instead of drawing things out, I like to build prototypes. Oops, let me come back to it if I can. So I just rig up a simple thing and try to figure out, using levers and cams and wheels and axles, how to get the motion I'm looking for. And once I think I have it on the prototype, then what I do is try to build it in actuality. So this is the finished Apollo, and this is just a nicer version of the prototype that you saw. I probably studied slow motion hummingbird flying wings for a couple of hours until it somehow in my brain I started to think of how I could get that motion. Because I wanted to get it with the hummingbird or the firefly would hover, much like the hummingbird did. So when the car was completed, then I had the electrical output going to little lights. I put in the eyes, and I learned something. It is really hard to drill a hole in a marble. That's tough. And I did go to jig to set it in, to clamp it, and I probably went through 6 marbles in the crafting. But that's part of the fun for me, is just the whole problem solving thing. So this just shows the car's flying motion, and I have to do a moving mouth part in front too. So if I make this an egg-shaped camera, it just opens and closes the mouth on a spring motion. So in my mechanicals, I always try to have 3 motions. So we have the mouth, you have the flying wings, and then the secondary wings that we just move up and down. So I almost always try to get these 3 motions. And Totaro actually works better in the dark because then you can really see his eyes having light up. That's just kind of fun thing. So the dodo bird, I ended up, that one either could be hand cranked or you put the motor in neutral, or I like these mechanical clockwork motors. As a matter of fact, when I started working with the Mars Museum, all my pieces were powered by these. So I got about 15 of them. And then when the curator, Michelle Marinelli, who worked with JR, said they all have to be electrified, I said, I don't know if I want to do this. But I really wanted to do it, so I had to take all my hand wind-up motors off and electrify everything so that we hook up to the foot pedals so the kids could interact with it. But I really liked the wind-up motors. And once I got my stuff back from the show, many of them were reconverted back to the original. Because I think it's more interactive. And they really are, the Meccano company must have built things like tanks. This stuff just holds up unbelievably. You get an old motor like this, it's 50, 60 years old, you clean it up, you put a little oil on it, and they just run forever. I can't say enough about the quality of these drivetrains and power sources from England. So the dodo bird, she's a extinct creature. She can't fly, but my thought was, let's make it that she would want to flex her wings, wishing she could fly. So again, I just built another prototype and experimented with how to put it all together. And once I got a mechanism that I felt would look like flexing wings, that's what I went with. Then I used better quality strips. And again, this exemplifies again one of the goals I have is to make it just simple with one of the 6 simple machines. So this is just showing the revved up version and putting the bling on, and it's just fun to get a motion because to me the creations come alive whenever they start moving. It's weird, you form this bond with it. It's just like you do with a pet. And you spend so much time building these things and all the energy you take thinking through the thought process of how to build it, they really become part of you. It took a very long time before I could actually sell one. People say, well, I want to buy one. Which would be all bad in some cases. But it's, and I'm kind of weird when I sell them. I usually really want to get to know the person and make sure it's a good home. It's sort of like, when I told today, it's like if you own a parrot that you know is going to outlive you. Before you die, you have to find a good home for them. And that's really the way I feel with most of my creation. So as I get older, I'll probably be, putting out adoption applications. I'm not going to do that. So that was the finished dodo. Again, I always like to keep things whimsical. I want them to be kind of fun, and I want them to have a story. I try not to take it too serious. And if you didn't get to see the dodo move out there, this is what she looks like when she's moving out. Again, with her, I ended up getting four motions. We have the tail flexing up and down, the wings stretching out, wishing she could fly, the head turning, and then the mouth opening and closing. The main story in this presentation that we're going to do in great detail is on Pulpo the Cephalopod. And I did have to go with electric motors with her because of the tremendous amount of energy it takes to move all 8 arms. You just can't. I mean, I have like an old Victrola motor or something to be powerful enough. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I as a kid, I loved the classic horror movies, Werewolf, The Mummy, Count Dracula, and Frankenstein was my favorite. The scene where he's, it's alive! That just has stuck with me my entire life. And I go back usually once a year and find that clip on YouTube and just watch it over and over. And that's really sort of the fun I have with making these things. And I want them to look a little Frankensteinish. I want them to, some of the soldering joints, I like it when they're a little sloppy, that it looks like stitches. And I just want them to look like they're sort of alive, but not really. Unlike the beautiful porcelain heads of some of the classic atomic dolls. So let's talk about building Pulpo. So I was at a steampunk festival. I found that these people and I have a lot in common. I don't have to try to explain myself to as many of them as I do if I'm like at an art show. When I did high-end art shows, some people go, this is cool, I love it. Other people are like, what is wrong with you? Why is she wrong? What is wrong with you? This isn't art. It's not. Okay, but it's art. But at any rate, so I'm going to do one show a year where I sell stuff, and that's the steampunk festival called P-City Steampunk. They're based out of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania right now. But everybody in steampunk, particularly the women, love octopus. I mean, they have octopus jewelry, they have like rubber octopuses on their heads walking around. And people are saying, do you have an octopus? I'm like, no. How can you build an octopus that moves? And so, after the show was over, it just kept haunting me, couldn't do this. And so, I started mentally thinking, what could we do? And so I started accumulating materials and I did octopus parts. And so it began. The starting point was the articulated tentacles. I had to get it that you could have a tentacle that was smooth and would be flexible. So after a lot of trial and error, I came up with cutting up pieces of copper pipe, just regular water supply pipe, articulating joints in them, and then by getting a heavier brass weight on the end, it kept the end down so that as it's moving, that end kept on leveling back and forth to give it the additional motion. So I accumulated the parts and spent a lot of time in polishing, getting the one tentacle done. And once I got that tentacle done, it came to me that I had to make 7 more of them. That was easy. I mean, my hand surgery. So the upper part of the tentacles, I was at Home Depot buying some stuff, and I saw these copper flexible water pipelines. So perfect, you could like bend them and they stay in position to provide some support. So, and they're copper, which I just love copper and brass, as you probably noticed. And so one of the problems I dealt with was, how do I connect the end of the copper upper arm, which is rigid, to the body of the octopus? And I realized I needed to take this hollow tube and somehow get a threaded bolt in it. So again, to trial and error, I had some old Canadian pennies which were solid copper, which allowed me to solder beautifully onto the end. And then by taking a brass nut and soldering it into that hole, you then have a socket, a threaded socket all ready to go. So after soldering them all up, of course the nut was on the inside there, you sort of see the brass threads there. It gave me a great connection point. And again, that to me, that problem solving, figuring it out, that's just so much fun for me. I don't know why, but that's really something I really enjoy. Meccano makes a lot of structures, like these circular rings and discs that people will use in building like turntables for like a crane or something. So I acquired some of that. As I told some of you, I think Pulpo is the only automaton that I built that I ever kept a ledger of how much all the parts cost. And when it was all said and done, the parts alone to build that octopus were $1,986 and some cents. I couldn't believe it cost that much. So if and when I go to sell it, it's going to hurt me. Man, that just was incredible to me. So I started then figuring out how I was going to connect the arms then to the main body frame where the head of the octopus and the tentacles meet. And I really like this industrial look that the Meccano stuff will give you, so to me this just was a lot of fun doing like that. So again, I had to go on the internet and take a look at pictures of the octopus, because with my biology background, I really do want to try to make it look as naturally appropriate as possible. I don't want it to look too weird. I don't want it to look like an actual octopus, but I want it to be recognizable. On eBay, I was able to locate an old brass base that had the shape I think I was looking for. At a wholesale plumbing supply store, I was able to find this gigantic 45-degree copper joint that would give me the right curve for the head. And I've used some adapter pipes. I think it's like 1 inch thick and a quarter to a half inch and a half copper pipe. And that would be the siphons for the octopus breathes in and out. So soldering is something that you acquire a feel for. And I'm not always successful. But one thing I found when soldering, if you can clamp or somehow join things together so they're physically touching and rigid, it works a lot better. So if I run in a threaded wad and I just put some sprockets on the end and tighten it up, I was able to clamp these two siphons onto the body, and then I can just heat up with a torch and apply solder to the seam. That just seems to work best for me, to clamp it or screw it down as much as possible. Since I wanted to have little fan blades spinning in the siphon to mimic the pumping motion, I had to then install a drivetrain. So I had to put a 5/32 inch rod going through there and then bring it down onto this rod with a sprocket on it, so that I could then attach a drive sprocket for gear onto that. Then figuring out the eye location. For me, placing the eyes in these things is so hard, because if the eyes aren't just right, looking the right way, if they're off center or looking weird, it just makes the whole thing look wonky. And so you really have to be careful. And so I drill really small holes first, and then stick pins out of them and get back and look and make sure it looks like it's okay. And so there's been situations where they're making these things, and the eyes just don't like I have to start over and fill away pieces of it. I spent many hours on it. Okay. So after I got the head portion on, I then attached the legs to it using the threaded bolts, and that worked out really good and gave me a nice rigid base. I also ended up having to put a bent brass rod here to act as additional support, because once I put the base, which would be the mantle of the octopus, back here, there was a lot of leverage pulling it back.